ladies and gentlemen, captures something most people overlook. We live in a world obsessed with expression, with everyone rushing to speak, to prove, to respond. But very few understand that speech is not merely communication, it is a force. A force that can either protect your dignity, purpose, and relationships, or destroy everything you've built in seconds. Think about the damage caused by one careless sentence. Friendships end, families fall apart. Careers are sabotaged, all because someone spoke without thinking, reacted without wisdom, or tried to win an argument instead of keeping their peace. The mouth is small, but it can cause the biggest damage. What we say reveals who we are. Words are a mirror to the mind. Angry words show an undisciplined mind. Cruel words expose insecurity. Constant talking without listening reflects ego. But silence, that rare and powerful silence, shows control. It shows that you are thinking beyond the moment, that you vow, you peace more than proving a point, that you have the self-mastery to choose when to speak and, more importantly, when not to. You must learn this. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you should. Being right is not always worth being heard. Sometimes letting go of the need to explain or defend yourself is the real victory. That's what makes a person truly powerful, the ability to remain calm when everything around them is chaotic. You don't owe a reaction to every provocation. Your silence doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. People often say, speak your truth, but even the truth, if delivered with anger, arrogance, or bad timing, becomes harmful. Control doesn't mean suppression, it means choosing your words with intention. It means understanding the impact of your tone, your timing, and your audience. It means being able to say something meaningful without needing to be loud. There's a reason the wisest leaders, mentors, and legends of every field are often described as measured in their speech. They speak only when necessary, and when they do, every word carries weight. That's because they don't waste words. They don't speak to impress. They speak to influence, and that influence is rooted in restraint. Think about it in practical terms. In your personal life, how many times have you said something in frustration that you later regretted? In relationships, some wounds caused by words take longer to heal than physical injuries. In your professional life, one poorly timed comment can ruin your reputation, damage a partnership, or cost you an opportunity. And on the internet, one wrong sentence can spread across the world in minutes, leaving permanent damage in its wake. Your mouth is like a sword. When used with skill, it defends, inspires, and builds. But when used recklessly, it cuts down even the ones you love. You need to decide whether your words will be a tool of growth or destruction. And that decision happens not when you're calm, but in the heat of the moment. That's when real discipline shows, so train yourself. Train your tongue like a warrior trains his sword with control, precision, and purpose. Don't react, respond. Don't blurt, breathe. Don't speak to be heard, speak to be understood. And sometimes, just sometimes, don't speak at all, because in that silence you say more than words ever could. Mastering your mouth is about mastering your mind. If your thoughts are clean, your words will be powerful. If your ego is in check, your voice will be calm. And when your speech is aligned with intention, truth, and compassion, it becomes a weapon not of destruction, but of transformation. Let people underestimate your silence. Let them think you're quiet, submissive, even weak. And then let your actions, not your words, make all the noise they need to hear. Touches one of the most powerful yet misunderstood truths about human behavior. Your mood is not just a fleeting feeling. It's the filter through which you see the world, make decisions, and build or break everything around you. When your mood controls you, you live like a passenger constantly reacting, getting pulled into drama, negativity, confusion. But when you control your mood, you take the driver's seat. You become intentional. You build momentum toward your goals with clarity, focus, and emotional strength. Most people underestimate the impact of emotional discipline. They think emotions are automatic, that if you feel angry, you must act angry. If you're sad, you must shut down. If you're excited, you should let it take over. But that's not true. Emotions are real, yes. But they are not always right. They are signals, not commands. You have the power to feel without being ruled. That's the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is emotion in control. Response is you in control. Think about the number of things you've delayed, damaged, or completely destroyed because of a bad mood, a harsh word spoken in anger, a decision made in frustration, an opportunity ignored because you didn't feel like it, a day wasted because you were irritated by something small. These moments seem minor, but they snowball. One wrong mood can affect your work, your relationships, your goals, even your health. Emotional instability creates inconsistency, and inconsistency kills progress. Now consider the opposite. Think of a time when you were calm, collected, and composed. Even when things went wrong, you handled it. You adjusted. You didn't let the external chaos affect your internal balance. That's power. That's maturity. That's when real progress happens, not when everything is going right, but when your mind stays right even when everything else is going wrong. Mood mastery is not about faking positivity or ignoring your emotions. It's about awareness and regulation. It's knowing when to step back. It's having the discipline to pause, reflect, and choose your response, especially when your instincts are telling you to explode. It's not bottling up your feelings, but processing them without letting them destroy everything in their path. Strength isn't the absence of emotion, it's the ability to carry emotion without dropping your standard. Your energy in any situation is either building or breaking your future. When you're constantly ruled by mood swings, you exhaust your mental resources, your focus scatters, your relationships suffer. You chase motivation but miss momentum. Why? Because momentum doesn't come from occasional good moods, it comes from consistent emotional discipline. The ability to show up, work hard, stay calm, and push forward regardless of how you feel is what creates real transformation. Mood mastery is also a form of leadership. The way you carry your energy influences people around you. Whether it's your family, your team, your friends, or your clients, people feel your mood before they hear your words. If you want to lead, inspire, or build trust, emotional maturity is non-negotiable. No one follows someone who can't even manage their own energy. It all starts with awareness. Pay attention to how your mood shifts throughout the day. What triggers you? What calms you? When do you feel most in control? Develop tools, breathwork, pauses, reflection, writing. Exercise anything that helps you reset instead of react. Learn to become emotionally intelligent, not just emotionally expressive. Emotional intelligence is knowing the difference between what you're feeling and how you choose to act on it. You are not your mood, you are the observer of it. You can feel deeply and still act wisely. And when you do that, you unlock a level of clarity that most people never reach. You stop wasting time on emotional detours. You stop losing momentum every time life throws a curveball. You stay grounded in storms, focused in failure, and humble in success. In a world full of impulsive reactions and emotional chaos, the calmest person becomes the strongest person. Master your mood and you master your movement. You gain control not just over your day, but over your direction. And when your direction is clear, your momentum becomes unstoppable. Reveals a truth most people avoid facing. Money isn't just a tool or a goal. It's a mirror. It reflects how well you manage your impulses, how clearly you think about the future, and how disciplined you are in the present. The way you spend, save, and invest tells a deeper story about your mindset, whether you seek instant gratification or lasting growth, whether you act from emotion or intention, whether you're building stability or chasing illusions. Financial discipline has little to do with how much you earn and everything to do with how well you manage what you have. There are people who make millions and still live in debt, always chasing the next big thing, addicted to spending, unable to say no to their desires. Then there are others with modest income who quietly build wealth because they understand a powerful principle. Money flows where discipline grows. When you don't control your money controls you. It dictates your choices, your stress levels, your freedom. You find yourself working for survival instead of creating with purpose. You're stuck in a loop: earn, spend, regret, repeat. This cycle doesn't break with more income, it breaks with more discipline. And discipline starts with awareness. Why do you buy what you buy? Why do you chase brands, upgrades, and trends? For many, spending is emotional. It's not about need, it's about escape. They shop to feel better, to impress others, to distract themselves from deeper issues. But all of that fades and the bill remains. Real growth begins when you stop buying to feel good and start building to live better. Look around the advertisements, the influencers, the culture. Everything is designed to make you want more. You're constantly being told you need the next product, the next experience, the next level of lifestyle. But ask yourself this: who benefits from your lack of discipline? It's not you, it's the system, the companies, the marketers. And the more impulsively you spend, the more power you give away. True power is not in showing what you can buy, but in showing what you can resist. It's in the ability to delay gratification, to say, not now because I'm building something bigger, to save when others spend, to invest when others flex. Every time you choose long-term value over short-term pleasure, you're choosing power. You're choosing control. Financial control doesn't mean living like a miser or denying yourself joy. It means spending with intention. It means asking, will this move me forward or hold me back, before every purchase. It means having a vision for your money and a plan that matches that vision. Because without a plan, your income is just noise. It comes in and vanishes, leaving nothing behind but stress and lost potential. Saving is not weakness. Budgeting is not lack. They are acts of self-respect. They are signs that you value your peace over impressing others, that you'd rather sleep well than show off, and most importantly, that you're willing to sacrifice now for a better later. Your future self is watching you. Every smart financial choice you make today is a gift to that version of you, the one who wants freedom, stability, and options. And every careless choice is a burden you're handing over. Don't let your future suffer because you couldn't control a moment of impulse. Build habits that serve you. Track your spending. Know where every dollar goes. Invest in learning about money. Surround yourself with people who talk about growth, not gossip. Read about wealth, not just luxury. Focus on assets, not appearances, because wealth isn't just having money, it's having choices. The choice to work because you want to, not because you have to. The choice to walk away from stress because you're financially free. The choice to build, give, explore, and live on your own terms. At the core of all of this is internal discipline. When your mind is focused, your money follows. When you're emotionally strong, you're financially wise. And when you lead your money with purpose, it stops leading you with pressure. Remember this: you don't need to be rich to start acting wisely with your money. You need to be wise to become rich in the ways that truly matter. Goes far deeper than most people realize. True power isn't found in domination, shouting the loudest, or being the most physically strong. It's not in showing off, proving yourself constantly, or always getting your way. Real power is silent, it's controlled, it's built on restraint, the ability to not react, to not engage in nonsense, to not fall for every emotional trap or ego-driven moment. That's where your strength truly lies. Self-control is not weakness, In fact, it's the rarest and most respected form of power in today's noisy world. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can react out of impulse, frustration, jealousy, or ego. But very few can pause in that moment and choose wisdom over emotion. Very few can be insulted and still stay calm. Very few can feel the urge to respond and still remain silent. That's power. That's leadership. That's growth. Every time you exercise self-control, you take your power back. When you choose not to respond to disrespect, you're saying, "You don't get to control my energy." When you walk away from drama instead of feeding it, you're declaring, "My peace is more valuable than this argument." When you say no to an unhealthy habit, a toxic person, or a distracting temptation, you're proving that your discipline is stronger than your desires. In moments of conflict, people often confuse reaction with strength. But reacting without thinking is not strength, it's vulnerability. It shows you're still being driven by the outside world, by what people say, by how situations make you feel. But when you respond with control, even in the face of chaos, you're unshakable. You're no longer moved by temporary emotions. You move based on principles, and that makes you untouchable in a world full of people who are constantly triggered. Self-control also applies to your goals and your habits. You cannot become great if you're a slave to your impulses. The people who reach the highest levels of success are not the most talented, they are the most disciplined. They wake up when they don't feel like it. They train when no one is watching. They stick to their routines. They say no to distractions. They don't let emotions decide their days, and they don't let their moods destroy their mission. That level of control comes from knowing what you want and being willing to protect it even from yourself. Because sometimes your biggest enemy is not the world outside, but the undisciplined version of yourself within. The version that wants to lash out, overreact, overspend, overthink, procrastinate, or give up. Power comes when you train that version, when you replace emotional reactions with conscious choices, when you act with clarity, not chaos. You also gain respect through self-control. People trust those who don't explode under pressure. They admire those who remain composed during conflict. They follow those who are guided by values, not moods. Whether it's in leadership, business, family, or friendship, the one who stays in control commands the room not through fear, but through presence, through calm energy, through consistency. Control is not about suppression, it's about direction. You're not denying your emotions, you're channeling them. Anger becomes fuel for change. Sadness becomes a source of empathy. Frustration becomes a signal for growth. Every emotion has a use, but only if you're leading it, not letting it lead you. And remember, self-control is not something you either have or don't. It's something you build, choice by choice, moment by moment. Every time you resist reacting, you get stronger. Every time you practice patience, you build a habit. And over time, that habit becomes your nature. It becomes your strength. It becomes your superpower. So the next time you're tempted to say something out of anger, to quit something because it's hard, to choose comfort over growth, pause. Ask yourself, is this my higher self leading or my emotions? The more often you choose your higher self, the more powerful you become. Because self-control is not about being passive, it's about being deliberate. And deliberate people shape their lives. They don't just live them, they lead them. If you want to win in life, you must first win the battle within. And that battle is not won by force, but by focus. Not by reacting, but by rising above. Self-control isn't the absence of strength, it is the strength. And once you master that language, the world starts listening to you in a whole new way. Speaks to the heart of transformation. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone dreams of greatness, freedom, wealth, health, and peace of mind. But very few are willing to walk the road that leads there. Why? Because the road is uncomfortable. It demands consistency, sacrifice, patience, and most of all discipline. And discipline isn't glamorous. It's not exciting or dramatic. It's silent, repetitive, and often invisible. but it is the foundation of every powerful life. Doing what's right when it feels good is easy. Anyone can do that. But doing what's right when it's hard, boring, inconvenient, or painful, that's where greatness is born. Waking up early when your body wants to sleep. Choosing water when your mind craves soda. Showing up to work when you feel uninspired. Saying no to distractions when everyone around you is indulging. These small choices, repeated every day, are what build character. They build resilience. They build results. Discipline is not a one-time act. It's a habit. It's a mindset. It's a promise you make to yourself and keep, no matter how tough things get. Because when you commit to discipline, you're not just changing your schedule, you're changing your identity. You're telling yourself, I am the kind of person who does hard things. I am the kind of person who keeps going even when it's uncomfortable. I am the kind of person who doesn't quit. And here's the truth, motivation will fail you. It's temporary, it comes and goes like weather, but discipline, that's permanent. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. It's what gets you to the gym on the days you feel lazy. It's what keeps you learning when progress feels slow. It's what makes you save money when spending seems more fun. And that's the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck. Not luck, not talent, not opportunity, but discipline. Discipline means choosing your future over your feelings. It means doing what needs to be done even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when no one understands. It means saying yes to growth and no to comfort. It means showing up for your dreams when it's hard, lonely, or uncertain. Because the real test of your strength is not in how you act when things are easy, but in how you show up when things are difficult. There's a quiet dignity in discipline. You may not get instant rewards. You may not see the results right away, but over time the gap between the disciplined and the undisciplined becomes massive. The disciplined person slowly builds a life of freedom, while the undisciplined remains trapped by their own habits. One is shaping their future, the other is surviving their present, and don't mistake discipline for punishment. It's not about restricting your life, it's about directing it. When you live without discipline, you may feel free in the moment, but you become a slave to regret later. But when you live with discipline, you experience some discomfort now in exchange for peace, pride, and power later. That's the trade-off. That's the cost of a meaningful life. Look around. Everything worth having comes through discipline. A strong body, a sharp mind, a healthy bank account, a peaceful home, a successful business, none of it happens by accident. It's built brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice, and every time you choose discipline, you are laying a brick toward that vision. Even on the days you feel tired, uncertain, or unseen, show up. Even when no one is cheering you on, show up. Even when you're doubting yourself, show up. Because every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you are honoring your potential. You are creating a future your current self can't even fully imagine. And one day, that future version of you will look back with gratitude that you didn't give in, didn't give up, and didn't lower your standards. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. It's saying, I care about myself enough to do what's hard now so I can live better later. And that choice, repeated again and again, creates a life that others will call extraordinary, but you'll know it wasn't magic. It was discipline, touches a deep and often overlooked truth about strength. In a noisy world where everyone is rushing to speak, post, react, argue, and prove themselves, silence is no longer seen as neutral, it's seen as mysterious, powerful, and rare. And anything rare becomes valuable. That's why silence, when used with intention, becomes a superpower. It's not emptiness, it's presence, it's self-control, it's intelligence without arrogance, it's wisdom without the need to show off. Most people speak not to communicate, but to defend, to be seen, to impress, or to escape discomfort. They talk without thinking, they overshare, they react quickly to criticism, they try to prove their worth through words. But true strength doesn't need noise to exist. It doesn't need applause to feel real. It simply is. The calmest person in the room always has the most influence because calmness reflects control. Silence reflects depth. When you master silence, you stop wasting energy on the wrong things. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. You no longer get dragged into meaningless arguments. You stop giving away your power through emotional outbursts. Silence helps you filter what truly deserves your attention, and most things, quite frankly, don't. It teaches you to respond instead of react, to observe instead of obsess, to process before you speak. And in doing that, you become more focused, more composed, and more dangerous in the best way. Silence also teaches you to listen not just to others, but to yourself. When you stop talking, you start hearing your own thoughts more clearly. You get to know your triggers, your patterns, your inner voice. You make better decisions. You start to lead yourself, and that's where real confidence is born, not from external validation, but from deep inner clarity. People who talk constantly are often trying to silence their own doubts, but those who are at peace don't need to speak just to fill space. They're comfortable in their stillness. This doesn't mean you never speak. It means you choose when and how. You speak with purpose, not pressure. You speak with calm, not chaos. Your words carry weight because they are not thrown out carelessly. People start to notice when you speak, you mean it. And that makes them listen. In a world full of noise, the one who speaks less but with depth is always remembered more. Silence is especially powerful in conflict. When someone insults you, provokes you, tries to get under your skin, your silence is a message. It says, I will not dance to your chaos. It says, you don't get to control how I feel. Walking away, staying calm, refusing to engage in emotional bait, that's a level of mastery many never reach. But once you do, you'll notice something. Your peace is never dependent on someone else's behavior. And here's another truth: silence is where growth happens. You don't grow while talking. You grow while reflecting. You grow while observing. You grow while practicing. Some of your greatest ideas, breakthroughs, and inner shifts will happen in moments of stillness, not in conversations or arguments. Silence helps you separate what's urgent from what's important. It helps you focus on what truly moves you forward. Think about nature's strongest forces: earthquakes, storms, even growth itself. They all begin in silence. The roots grow underground before the tree rises. Pressure builds quietly before the mountain shifts. The most powerful transformations are often silent ones. You don't need to announce everything you're doing. Just do it. Let your silence build something strong enough that your results do the talking later. And in the age of social media and endless online noise, this power becomes even more rare. Everyone is broadcasting their lives, their opinions, their victories, and even their pain. But the one who holds back, who doesn't need to be seen constantly, who chooses presence over performance, that person becomes magnetic. People wonder what's going on with them. That curiosity, that mystery, that restraint, it gives you influence without even trying. So, when you feel the urge to explain, to argue, to prove, to shout, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most of the time, it's not. Choose silence. Choose stillness. Choose the strength of not reacting. Because the strongest person is not the loudest in the room, it's the one who has mastered the art of not needing to be loud at all. Let your silence speak of your growth. Let it reflect your discipline, your confidence, your emotional control. In a world that won't stop talking, become the one who listens deeply, acts wisely, and moves quietly until your results make all the noise for you. That's true power. That's the superpower of silence. Thanks for watching.